There we go. I forgot to click off the microphone. Hopefully now you'll be able to hear me just fine. That would explain why nobody answered. But hopefully you can all hear and see me. I said a moment ago, but you didn't hear any of it. I said welcome to Twitch and welcome to our class. And the way to interact with me through all of this is to use the chat feature on the right. If you've never used Twitch before, I am monitoring it on my phone. So if you have any questions as we're going through, you can put them in there and I'm happy to answer them. Glad it's working better now. Thank you. That's why I asked, just to double check. So thank you. As I said a moment ago, this is our Canvas homepage here. If you can make it to here, everything is either on here or linked from here. So you should be in really, really good shape. I want to take a little bit of time today to go through the syllabus and go through the format of the class. Normally these live streams will be a little bit shorter. This one a little longer just because we're kind of setting the stage for everything. But this is a wonderful opportunity. If you have any questions or confused, please feel free to put that in the chat and I would be happy to answer it. So once you make it to this page, you can see there's kind of the start here, orientation, contact information, help and campus resources, course documents and videos, and then you can see all the remaining weeks of the class, and everything is linked. If you click on it, it'll take you right to those materials. So where it says start here is a really good place to click as a beginning point. I'm going to back up one step further and go to the syllabus just so that I can go over that with all of you, which is right here up at the top. And I'm not going to go over all of it, but I do want to make sure you know what to expect and what your grade will be based on and how the class is set up. So definitely read through the rest of it on your own. But you can see here the title of the class. My name is Elisa Setmire. You're welcome to call me Elisa, or you can call me Setmire or Professor Setmire. Any of those things are fine. I give you my office location, my phone number, and my email. Email is always going to be the best way to get a hold of me. I check my email a lot versus I'm not always in my office. So if you call my office phone, I won't always get that message right away. So if you ever have questions or need anything, definitely go with email. I gave you the information for the department chair and the dean and the division office if you need it, along with a little description, objectives, and outcomes for the class. The big thing that follows that is the textbook. So you definitely need a textbook for this class. It's the Research Methods in Psychology by Beth Moreling. I'm using the 4th edition. There is a newer edition, but it's really expensive and this one's still really good. So I was hoping I could save you a little bit of money by sticking with the older one for maybe another year. But this is the book that you'll need. You can get it in any format that you would like. So you could do an ebook, you could do a print copy, you can rent it, you can buy it. Definitely do a little research and see what your options are before you get it. They have it at the bookstore, but I guarantee that you can find it online for a pretty reasonable amount. Has anybody purchased the book yet? If anyone is comfortable sharing, like where did you get it? What format did you get? You could put that in the chat. But definitely get a copy of the book as soon as you can. You'll also want access to Canvas and Twitch. I'm using both of those things a fair amount. All of our materials are linked on Canvas. There's a really great app that you can download on your phone, and then it's linked to your phone, which is really convenient. And then you'll need access to the computer and internet, obviously, since it's an online class. You just received it, you rented it, that's amazing. Again, you have lots of different choices, and I imagine a lot of different price points, so definitely do a little bit of research before you decide. I put on some codes of conduct, policies, and campus policies as well. Either of you willing to, if you don't mind, how much did you purchase or rent it for, just as a point of comparison? I put on here the commitment to a learning environment that's safe and inclusive. I know we don't meet at all in person, but we will be meeting on here each week, and then we'll be doing discussions every week. So please be really respectful of each other, be really mindful of the things that you say and everybody's different backgrounds and perspectives. Just want it to be a place where everyone feels safe contributing and commenting. So be really mindful of that as you're on here, putting all of that out on Canvas. I put my policy for late work and exam makeups. I'm pretty strict about deadlines. I'll be really upfront and honest with you about that. The way that the class is organized is that you have access to a week of materials at a time. In the very last weeks of the class, I might open them up so you can kind of wrap up as the semester ends. But typically weeks will open Monday morning and then close Sunday night. Really important to get all those materials in before Sunday evening at 11:59 p.m. because I don't accept the discussions or exams or materials past their due date. If you have an emergency or if you have something come up and you reach out to me before the deadline, I am more than willing to give you some extra time. But if you reach out to me after the deadline, it will unfortunately be too late. So just be really mindful of that as we go through. Remember that the weeks end Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. and be on top of those deadlines, as I don't accept those materials late. If you know that you're going to have kind of a busy week, you could get everything done at the beginning or the end or kind of a little throughout. You have that flexibility. Just be mindful of the Sunday night deadline. Please don't copy or cheat. I know it's really easy to use like AI and ChatGPT and all those things, but give me all your own beautiful, creative work. There are harsh consequences for copying and plagiarizing and cheating. So just let's avoid that. There's some stuff here about Title IX and the smoking policy that you can look over. And then as far as your grade goes, it's made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different items. The first one is due by the end of this week, along with all of week one's materials. There's a little mandatory orientation quiz for you to take. This just ensures that you are up and running, that you understand the requirements of the class, and that you're getting going on those weekly materials. That's due by Sunday night. A big part of your grade is made up of discussions. Every single week you'll complete a discussion. It's worth 15 points. And that will make up a big part of your grade. So I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to discussion 1. The self-assessments, there's a couple of these. There's 3 of them throughout the semester. After every exam week, I'll kind of check in with you asking about your grade and how you're doing and your progress in the class. Each of these will be worth 5 points. There are 4 homework assignments that we'll do. These are each worth 25 points, and they're meant to reinforce what we're talking about. All of the knowledge that's gained during the lectures, give you an opportunity to apply that information that you've learned. These will be every few weeks, and when they come up, we'll talk about it. We'll go over the instructions together, and these will be submitted here on Canvas. At the end of the class, you'll do an experiment proposal project. Hopefully it's kind of interesting in that you can pick whatever topic you would like and you'll design a research proposal related to it, kind of synthesizing everything that we've learned throughout the course. And then there'll be 4 exams, each one worth 50 points, that you'll take every 4 weeks or so, and they'll all be right here on Canvas. So those all add up together for this distribution of grades right here. You can just see the points that you need for each letter grade. If any of you have a memo with access, please make sure you get that to me right away. I've already received a few of them, but if you need extra time on the exams or extra resources, as soon as I have that memo, I can help make sure you get whatever resources you need. There's some links here for student tech support and college information, right? If you want some student services information or important dates, there's a couple of things here that might be helpful for you. And then after that, it's just all of the schedule for the class. So you can see everything is broken down week by week. And each week you're responsible for some reading and then typically a discussion, maybe an exam depending on the week or a homework assignment. But you can see the entire schedule here all the way to the end of the semester. And every Monday morning I'll send out an announcement with some reminders for the week to help kind of try and keep you on track. And you'll also see that under the weekly modules, everything you need to do is organized under its week. So hopefully between all of that, it's really clear and you know what is due each week and you know what's expected of you. So for example, this week opened up on Monday, and like every other week, it'll close up Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And this week you're in charge of the syllabus and that mandatory orientation lecture. Chapter 1, you have the mandatory orientation quiz, introduction discussion, and discussion number 1. So you can see everything for its corresponding week. The class ends on Sunday, December 7th, and we'll just go week by week until we get closer to the very end. So I didn't go over everything in there, so definitely read through it again, but that is the syllabus. I sent out a welcome letter on Monday with a little bit of information related to the class and the book. Here's the link right here for textbook information. You can easily order it directly from the publisher if you would like, or some of you said, you rented it on, or you paid $50 to rent it, $40 to rent it, right? So again, try and get the book and know that there are some options available to you. Other than that, under there, there's some resources for you if you want kind of a sample rubric of what I'm looking for on the discussions. I've given you that. I've given you the study guides for every exam. And as we get closer to exam number one, I'll talk about the exams more. They're again about every 4 weeks or so. I compiled a list of all the frequently asked questions. So I've been teaching this class online now for a good like 5 or 6 years. And so all the questions that people kind of tend to ask, I put them together. If you're confused about something, it might be in there. Of course, you can always email me as well. I made a little student discussion forum. So if you'd like to talk with each other and support each other, this is a great place to kind of start that conversation. It's just an open forum for all of you to ask and answer questions. Underneath that, there's some stuff about setting your Canvas notifications. I do send out an announcement every week, like I mentioned. So if you're not getting those, make sure you set your notifications. There's some stuff about how to find me on Twitch and YouTube. So I'm going to be using Twitch for these live streams. I also post a lot of videos on YouTube. So not a bad idea to click here and find me on both of those platforms. A little bit about your grades, technology help, some student services, psychology, major information, lots of just help and campus resources here if you should need them. Once you've explored all of that and you have your book, you can then go to that mandatory orientation lecture and quiz and introductions discussion. These are the things you should do first before starting week number one, which is open as of Monday. So let's take a look at these three things together. You paid $8 for faster shipping and you received it today. That's great. If you don't have it immediately, you should be okay. This week's a little bit lighter, but definitely by next week, it would be nice to have it. So that's great that it got here quickly, right? Yeah, I should have done that. Oh, I hate when you find out about it later, but I'm glad that, that you found some options. Okay, so let's look at that lecture together. I want you to notice that all the lectures have this like multi-tab format at the top. This one has 5. Most of your lectures have 3. But the first page is an overview and then organization, your instructor, computer and internet, and help. So just make sure that you are exploring all the tabs. Notice you also have audio at the top if you'd rather listen to me reading it to you. I have recorded all of these lectures. So the overview here says make sure you look at all these pages, read through the syllabus, complete the orientation quiz, find me on YouTube and Twitch. And those are all the things that are kind of like little precursors to week number one to get done. The way the course is organized, as I mentioned to you a few moments ago, every week it'll open up Monday morning. You have some assigned readings from the book. You have some lectures and lecture videos to follow with. And then there'll be a weekly discussion topic. So every week you'll have one discussion. Every few weeks you'll have a homework assignment or an exam. Never on the same week, they're spread out. You'll have some self-assessments, and then at the very end, an experiment proposal project. So that's kind of the way that everything is set up. It's all laid out for you, and so hopefully the organization feels pretty clear. I gave you a little bit about myself in case you wanted to know a little bit more. I am a huge football fan, and I love escape rooms. I'm already decorated for Halloween, so happy back to school Halloween already. I have a bunch of cats, and I put their names and everything in here. I will typically be doing these live streams at home. If they come anywhere near me, I'll grab one, but they have typically learned to stay away. So just a little bit about me if you wanted to know more. There's a page about computer and internet help. If you're struggling with your internet settings, I have some suggestions on here. And then the last page is help. So if you're struggling with anything related to Canvas, I give you their phone number. Here's the distance education website for the college. And then, of course, if you have questions or need something, you can always email me or ask me in these live streams where you have the chance to interact with me live. So once you've read through all of that, then you can take the mandatory orientation quiz. It's worth 10 points, and it is due by this Sunday night like everything else. And with these quizzes and exams on Canvas, with this one, for example, you have 15 minutes. You only get one attempt, so make sure that you're ready and organized before you begin, that you have good internet and a quiet place to take the test, that you've gone through the materials that will be on the quiz or on the exam. And then you can use anything. You can use your notes in your book, but just make sure that you're prepared as you'll run out of time really quickly if you're trying to look everything up. So for example, when you're ready, you can click Take the Quiz. and it will open it up for you. You can see that it has 15 questions on it, right? And 10 questions and 15 minutes is what I meant to say. And so with each one of these, you're just going to pick the answer that you think is correct. And then when you're done at the very end, there is one short answer question. You'll hit submit quiz. And you'll get a score right away for everything except the short answer questions, which I have to grade manually. So I got a shameful 0 out of 10. Hopefully you do much, much better than I did. But you can also see it'll show you what you got right and wrong. And if you ever have any questions about that, you can always email me. Okay, so you can take that mandatory orientation quiz anytime this week as soon as you've gone over those materials. And then there's a little introductions discussion just to help me get to know you and get to know your classmates a little bit since we'll be interacting here on campus. So once you've done all of that, you've explored all these links, you've read through the resources, you've done the introductory stuff, you can get going on week number 1, which again is open from Monday to Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So each week you'll have 3 things to do with each chapter. 3. My kids make fun of me for the way I say 3, but 3. So the first is you'll want to read the chapter in the textbook. So with every chapter, make sure you read it. Some of them are broken up into 2 parts, but this week we're reading chapter 1, so read through that in the book. The second thing will be to go through the lecture. So what I've done is kind of highlighted some of the really important things that I want you to know. The first page is always objectives and summary with some of the images and diagrams from the book. The second page is always going to be beyond the book. So here are some things beyond what they cover in the textbook that I feel like are important or relevant. If I give you a video, really good idea to watch it. If I give you a link, click on it, or like an article like there is here, you might go read it. All of those things together are meant to help you understand and make sense of all of the materials. And then the last page will be key terms and review. If you wanted to study as you went along for the exam, here are all the terms you need to know from chapter 1. Next week, you'll get all the ones from chapter 2. And so you can kind of review those as you go. You also have a study guide that will be available to you when we get closer to the test. Also notice that you can listen to the audio just like with the orientation lecture. So if you'd rather listen to it, if you miss the sound of my voice, right, you can always do that as well. That's totally fine. Okay, so for each chapter, again, make sure you're doing that. So you're reading it in the book, read through the lecture and watch any videos in there and click on anything in there. And then there's always going to be a short lecture video. So what these are is me lecturing to PowerPoint slides. I tried to post them all on YouTube so that you could get access to this anywhere. That way you can watch it anywhere. It's hopefully convenient for you. These are usually about like 15 to 20 minutes or so of me lecturing to some slides about the key points. And not a bad idea to take notes, definitely pay attention. A lot of the stuff on here will appear on the exams. Okay, so once you've done the reading and the lectures, then you have a discussion. And then you'll see each week there's an extra credit opportunity from these live streams, and I'll explain that more in a minute. There's a wrap-up checklist for every week. If you want to make sure you've done everything, you can kind of check that. And then the recording of this will always be posted too. So here's the recording. It'll be up a little bit later today from our time together. So let's look at the discussion since that's the only other thing that's really due this week. And then next week we'll focus on week 2 and then week 3 and so on. With the discussions, you'll notice when you open it, they're always going to look the same, right? I'm really big on consistency for online classes. So what you'll see right off the top, right off the bat at the top here are my instructions. And then it'll be followed by a video. I would definitely recommend watching the videos. They're just a couple of minutes, giving you some tips on the prompt and the topic for the week. What you'll want to do with your responses is think about them more like a mini paper. You want to elaborate and show off your understanding of the materials for the week. Maybe like a paragraph or so for each question that I give you. I gave you a little rubric and sample here if you'd like to click on it and get a better idea of what I'm looking for. But the discussions are worth 15 points. So 13 for your responses to my questions, and then 2 for your responses to a classmate. And right underneath the video is where you can find the prompt. So this is the prompt for this week that you're answering, right? So you're going to answer these 3 questions, and then I gave you some websites to help you find that information. And when you're ready, you'll hit reply, right? And you can see a few of you, Cadence, Melanie, Melissa, a bunch of you have already replied. And then don't forget to also reply to a classmate to get those 2 points. So read through a few people and then pick one that seems interesting and respond to it. And altogether, that's worth 15 points each week. And that makes up a big part of your grade. So definitely, take some time on these. Make sure you show off that you understand and can apply the materials. And I will be grading everything each week once the deadline passes. So typically on Mondays, I'll grade everything from the previous week. Okay. The only other thing that shows up for this week, as I mentioned, is the extra credit. So every week when I do these live streams, if you're joining me live, all you need to do is put your first and last name in the chat and then answer the question that I'll give you in a moment on Canvas. And I'll show you where to do that and how to do that. If you're watching this later as a recording, and I know a lot of us have classes and work and things at this time, you can still earn the 2 points of extra credit if you are subscribed on Twitch. And the reason for that is I can actually track your attendance if you're subscribed, but I can't if you're not. And there are instructions here on the webpage of how to do that, how to find me and subscribe on Twitch. It's completely free to do. It just takes a few minutes to set it up. If you have Amazon Prime or the Student Prime, which I gave you on here, which is free, you can follow these steps. There's also a little video at the bottom on how to do this, and that will allow you to watch this as a recording and still be able to get those extra credit points. So you have a couple of options if you can't make it live. But typically, as I near the end of our time, I'll give you some reminders, and then I'll give you the extra credit question, which you can answer right here. So let me put a few reminders here in the chat, and then I'll wait and see if any of you have any questions. The first one, I already typed this up, but if you could take a moment this week, figure out the Twitch subscription piece. I will be using this every single week. It saves me selfishly a ton of time if you figure out how to subscribe for free. I don't have to match your name to your username, and that saves me a lot of time. And then it also allows you to not have so many ads and to be able to watch this as a recording. The other reminder I have for you, and I'll put this in the chat, is about our next live stream. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, August 20th at 1 o'clock p.m. So I will try my best to stick to this day and time as consistently as I can. There might be some weeks where it has to move a little bit, but try and stick to Wednesdays at 1, and hopefully you can join me. And if not, again, they're always recorded and you can watch it later. And so what I'll do from here is I'll give you the extra credit question and show you how to answer it. And then I'll spend the last 5 minutes just hanging out. If you do have any questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer them. So here is the extra credit question for this week, for week number 1, and I'm going to put it in the chat for you. So this is the week number 1 Twitch extra credit question. Okay. So for this week, right, name and describe 2 to 3 characteristics of a good scientific theory. So name and describe 2 characteristics, 2 to 3, of a good scientific theory. And when you're ready to answer that, if you're joining me live, make sure you put your name in the chat. If you're watching this later as a recording and you're subscribed, you can still do this too. So you'll go to week number 1, right? And you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 1 right here. And up at the top, it's going to have this little start assignment. And that's where you click to go ahead and type your response. So you'll type up your response to the question. And when you feel good about it and you're ready, you can go ahead and hit submit. It gives you a little confetti burst, and there's always something in the confetti, little trophies in the confetti today. And again, what'll happen at the end of the week is I'll grade all of these. They are worth 2 points each. So if you did all of them, it adds up to 30 points of extra credit, which would be huge for maybe a missed discussion or some points off an exam. And if you can't do them every week, that's totally fine. They are available every week, but you can do them as you would like. And somebody just asked, where do you go to subscribe? So if you click on modules, I have a whole page right here. See where it says subscribing to Twitch and YouTube channels? So if you click on that, on here, there are step-by-step instructions for how to do that, how to link your Amazon accounts. And I tried to put little arrows and pictures, and then there's a video at the bottom as well. So all of that should hopefully be really helpful for you. It takes a couple of minutes. It's not super complicated. It just takes a couple of minutes to set it up. And then it's good for 30 days. So every 30 days, you just hit renew, and you can do that throughout the entire class and semester. So hopefully that little link, again, it's here under modules, right here where it says subscribing to Twitch and YouTube. Okay. All right. So that is everything for week number one. We went over the syllabus, we went over the lecture, the orientation stuff. Again, these are the things to do for this week. But before you do that, make sure you've purchased your copy of the book. Make sure you've done the orientation lecture and quiz and introductions. Once you have that set, jump into week number one and get going. Remember that everything is due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. If you ever have an emergency or need more time, just make sure you reach out to me before the deadline. After will be too late. Before, I'm happy to work with you. So I think that is everything that I wanted to share with you. It took us about 30 minutes or so, which is kind of a typical amount of time. What I will do is hang out for a little bit. If you have any questions or you're confused about anything, you could put it in the chat. I'd be happy to show you or kind of go over something again. Otherwise, if you're feeling good, go get started on week number one materials. I hope everyone is doing well and surviving the first week back. It's always a harsh transition from summer, but I hope you're all hanging in there and doing well with it. I'm going to minimize my video so that I'm not staring at myself, but I will hang out for another 5 minutes or so if you have any questions for me. Otherwise, good luck with week number one. I will hope to see you all for week number two. And again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you as well. And again, I'll hang out for a few minutes if any of you do have any questions. Otherwise, you're welcome to take off, and I'll hope to see you next week. Yep, you have the little crown next to your name. So there's actually one more step to do. You'll know that you're set when you have this little football cake next to your name. It kind of looks like a hamburger, but it's a little football cake. So I think you have one more step to do, Letitia. Otherwise, you're pretty much there. Because usually when you lose that little cake, that means that it hasn't finished. And it might just be that it hasn't shown up yet, too. Sometimes it takes a couple of hours to show up. Yeah, so try not to. So it definitely can cost money, like if you do that. But if you follow the whole directions that are on Canvas, there's a way around that, right? So you can pay for it, but I'd rather you didn't. It should be completely free for you to do. It just takes a couple of steps to set it up. If you have Amazon Prime, that will work. Or I sent out a message. There's a free student Amazon Prime that anyone is eligible for if you're an active student. And so you can use that to link to your account. Again, there's a video at the end of this, and hopefully that will be a little bit helpful for you. Yes, right. All right. So it looks like you did it now. That I see it now. See how you have the little thing? Yep, you figured it out. Nice job. Thank you too. You're welcome. See you next week. Yes. Right. So if you go to week number one on Canvas right here, so under week number one, see how it says optional Twitch extra credit right here? When you click on that, that's where you're going to answer the question. So up at the top, you'll hit begin attempt or new attempt if you already tried it. And that's where it brings up the little box for you to type and submit. So yeah, you're going to do it right there under week number one for this week. And then next week, it'll be for week two and so on. All right, I'm going to hang out for just another minute or two, and then I'm going to sign off so I can start the upload, download process. So if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, of course, you are welcome to always email me if you think of something a little bit later.